Hi, I'm Dan Aroney, and welcome to Making Music. I'm here in the Vintage Guitar Room at Guitar Showcase in San Jose, California, and today we're going to take a road trip. We're going to visit with Peter Machewka in the middle of Silicon Valley, California, who happens to have one terrific guitar collection that we're going to go visit with an emphasis on the Beatles. He also has one of the best coffee table book collections I've ever come across. Let's go take a visit and go say hi to Peter right now.
Hi, Dan.
Peter, hi.
Welcome. Come on in.
All righty.
Yeah, Dan. If you look at this wall, this is the Beatles stage in the house, and you can look at the Ludwig drum skin right there that I bought from you. You know, about what, 4 or 5 years ago, and I think this is what kind of started the Beatle collection. I had that, and then I said I'm going to frame it and put a light on it, and then I said it'd be kind of fun to start collecting guitars that the Beatles played.
So this was the culprit right here.
This is kind of the culprit, yeah. This kind of started it all. And as you can see, the representation of the guitars here with the Hofner and the Country Gentleman and the Rickenbacker, this is really the early Beatles in 1964. Yeah. This is what they played on the stage at Ed Sullivan in February '64. And the thing is, we changed the guitars depending on what songs they did and what era they did. So this is very fluid. So this changes quite a bit. So.
Cool. Beep, 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 yeah. Here's wall number 2. Tell us a little bit about this, because I see a lot of pieces that I've seen in Beatle concerts and Beatle books.
Yeah.
Start with the Rosewood Telly.
So that's about a '79 Japanese Rosewood Telly that George Harrison played on top of the studio, that last concert he did in London. Then if you go down to the Duo Jet, that's a '57 Duo Jet. And then, Dan, this is your favorite piece.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. Now, tell us about this one.
Yeah, now this one I picked up about 4 years ago in Rochester, New York, at the House of Guitars. And it was, in fact, the afternoon before we were flying home, we walked up there, and I saw this guitar, and I looked at it, and I told my wife I should buy it, and I was kind of thinking about it, and then I said, I'm going to buy it. And so this is a very unique piece, and it was done by a local artist in Rochester, New York.
Now, now you told me as well that the guy that worked there, Andy Babiuk, I think is how you pronounce his last name, is actually the author of Beatle Gear book.
Yeah, right. He did the Beatle Gears book, and he had this thing commissioned, and did a great. In fact, if you look at the book, there's a great picture of this, and I'm sure that's how the artist copied it. But that is just a fun, unique piece.
And it is. It's one of the best renditions of the Bebop-a-Lula that I've ever seen. It's a wonderful rocky guitar.
Then if you move further down here, here's the Kamaka ukulele, and this is one of George's favorite ukuleles that he played. He didn't really play this one, but he played a Kamaka like this.
And it had the KK.
And it had the KK,
top.
yeah.
This is
it's all
beautiful
Koa wood
piece.
and all that. Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous on that.
Then if you go down and look at the Ricky 12, and George Harrison played that in '64, '65. Help, you see a lot of stage, a lot of concerts where George was playing the Ricky 12 string.
What's cool about this is we actually just got one of these in recently for a customer. Yeah. We ordered it in 2003. This took Rickenbacker 3 years to make this for us.
Yeah.
And you have one of the very, very rare pieces that's been made in the last 5, 6 years. Probably one of only a couple dozen pieces in 4 or 5 years. That is absolutely gorgeous piece.
Now, if you look down here, here's a '79 Deluxe Reverb, probably one of the most famous amps that Fender ever made. Great sounding. And then if you look on the wall here, there's a couple of autographs. One of George Harrison, and a gold EP. That's got While My Guitar Gently Weeps. And then you look at Paul McCartney and his song Birthday, which is another gold.
Through Capitol Records. This one was through Apple.
Yeah, that's through Apple. And then down here you have your Gretsch Tennessean that George played quite a bit in '64, '65, which is a beautiful guitar. And this is, I think this is the last of the Gretches before Fender bought them.
That's correct.
Yeah, and you had that set up and all that, which is very neat. And we have some more ukuleles. In fact, I have an 8-string ukulele Kamaka that's unique.
Again, a beautiful piece of Koa.
Yeah, beautiful Koa.
Yeah.
And then one of my prized possessions is the Epiphone Tennessean hand-signed inside in the label by Paul McCartney. And this is one, I think, of what they made 250, Dan.
I think it
run at 250.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a great piece.
These are the USA-made pieces. They also did a run of the Japanese-made
ones. Yeah.
But this was actually one of the US pieces. Beautiful sounding guitar.
Yeah. I always thank Gary for that.
Yeah.
The little story behind that.
That's
but
we'll talk about
that later. And then this is another piece that I picked up in Rochester, New York. This is a custom out of Rickenbacker, and what they did is they duplicated Paul McCartney's Rickenbacker with the reverse headstock and with the natural finish, and where they kind of rounded a lot of these edges. So that's a unique piece. In fact, Dan, you had the flame version of it.
No, we were able to actually get a couple of these that we had some other Beatle collectors that picked them up.
Yeah, so that's
Now, what you have here, and I'm very familiar with these, is I don't know if we can get the camera in on this, but these are Peter Kellett pieces.
Yeah.
And he's an artist that's out of Santa Cruz, California, and these are actually hand-signed artist proofs that he did of Paul McCartney,
John Lennon,
the Beatles, and there's actually one of Jimmy Page as well. This is a great story in itself, because this was supposed to be given to all the people that bought the 25 Jimmy Page.
Right, that's number 26.
So, really, yeah.
Yeah. And then if you look up there, there's Ringo Starr. And what's unique about that one is Ringo now, when he autographs, he just does Ringo with a star. But he actually spelled out star and still did the star underneath. So that was the original. And then that's his gold EP there, Act Naturally, which he did back in the mid-'60s.
Well, let's head up the stairs right now, and let's see what we got upstairs.
Beep, 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 yeah!